Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular meeting of council for Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. I'd ask everyone to please stand for our national anthem. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to members of council, staff, and the public. I will call the meeting to order. Are there any declaration of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, motion to accept the agenda. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the agenda of the regular meeting of council on Tuesday, October the 10th, 2023.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to the adoption of the previous minutes, Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the minutes of the following meeting be adopted as circulated. Regular meeting of council, September 25th, 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. Any discussion on the minutes or errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to delegations, I'd like to welcome from Carrefour, Jackie Lalone and Diane Kuipers, also known as Jack and Diane. Welcome. So if you come on up to the podium, welcome. No, I was just reading the names in my head before, and it's like, Jack and Diane.
You can go ahead and sing it, Mr. Mayor, if you want to.
I've never, yeah.
Well, Jamie has already did the introduction. My name is Jackie Lalone. I am the team leader at Carrefour Community Services, Health and Community Services, and Diane is our associate director for Carrefour as well. So we would like to do a little presentation for you, so if that's okay. But I have a few things. Well, can I pass it along? Please do.
We're really quite privileged to be here tonight. We thank you for the opportunity. We won't take too much of your time, and I want to alleviate any fears that we're here for money. We're not here to discuss money at all. We were discussing how we could best serve our community. We were reviewing the fact that you had been working on a strategic plan, and we thought we had an interesting opportunity. We really want to talk to you about partnership, and specifically, we think we might be a missing piece or perhaps a welcome piece to add to your strategic plan or to help with the strategic plan. Just in case you don't know us, Carrefour Health and Community Services is the largest charitable organization or health and community services organization in Eastern Ontario. We have well over 1,200 employees who work in Eastern counties, Ottawa, and Renfrew County. We are an organization that's truly dedicated to enriching lives and helping people age well in their own homes and in their home communities. So we use a holistic approach in personal care, in community care, and in health care. Some of you may remember that we were there in 1998 when we had the infamous ice storm, and the center, the Rendezvous Center here in Alexandria, served as a shelter. Thanks to some of you who also helped us during COVID, we delivered some food boxes, and Care4 delivered well over 800 food boxes in SDG within a 2-day period. So thank you. I'm looking at some of the faces who helped us out. And last but not least, we are currently the emergency shelter for Le Palais.
So on a regular basis, we have quite a few programming that we run. We run Monday to Fridays, 8 to 4. Meal delivery is one of our, it's Meals on Wheels, as you probably know. And we cover, obviously, North Glengarry to a certain point, because also Maxwell Manor touches base on some areas. Prescott Russell too, and then we have Lancaster, our center in Lancaster as well, that hits a little, well, from the tracks on once it hits South Glengarry. We also have friendly visiting, telephone assurance, we have wellness clinics, we have foot care services, caregiver supports, and we have a big variety of social programming. So for example, one of our clients, I've been there for 23 years now, and one of my clients said, can you show this? This is one of our programs we do. It's called Step-by-Step Painting. Her name is Doris. She's 86 years old. Her family would not even allow her to paint anything but inside the cupboards, and this is what she can do now. So she says, make sure you show the council members what we can do and what really Care4 also means. And it's not just a social programming, but it's also a place where, especially after COVID, they can come and reunite with friends, make new friends, and so forth.
We know we don't have a lot of time, so we wanted to also explain that we've reviewed your website and looked at the strategic directions, and we noted, of course, the Grow, Foster, Champion themes, and we think specifically that we can help, perhaps, in the area of foster with sustainability strategies. And specifically, we think we might be able to help in the Parks and Recreation Department in partnering for recreation as it applies to older adults and seniors in the community.
To get back to our social department, our Care4 supports, we do 55 and plus our population. And painting, we do Nordic walking, we do yoga, fun and fitness. We have a smart exercise program, which means senior maintaining active roles together. We also have cooking classes and diners club that we offer for seniors.
Do you want to do the next one?
And I don't like seniors, I like older adults. And we also have an in-home exercise program that is a 10-week program where a volunteer goes in and does one-on-one, and it's a chair exercise, and they're all trained, and basically it's to help with their mobility and posture, balance, and so forth. So we also have that as well.
So we talk a lot about enriching lives, and so ultimately, though we have activities, the activities are founded on wellness pillars from the Council on Aging, and so we consider the social, the mental, the spiritual, the physical, the nutritional, all of the aspects that help someone to age well in a community. So we know that you've surveyed the community. We know that the results are being tabulated because we were trying to find out what have you heard from the results that you had. And we're not quite sure what your survey says, but we know for a fact that you did certainly ask questions that address the recreational needs of older adults and seniors in this community. And obviously, those are folks that we serve at Care4 as a demographic of concern.
And what we know is Care4 is a shared space with the Legion and it's also owned by the Township of North Glengarry. What we also know is that close to 200 older adults, seniors regularly participate at the Rendezvous Center. Most are residents from Alexandria, Glen Robertson, Apple Hill, Maxville, Laggan, and Dalkeith. And our painting program has been such a hit that we have even people from Cornwall that's coming and people from Ottawa. And even some from Hawkesbury. And we also utilize the dome for our Nordic walking. We use it also for the senior, on Wednesdays you have a group free for seniors. So Penny DeCuss runs a program there for exercise. We also used over the summer for a Father's Day brunch, the arena. And we're very grateful that we can partnership on that. We also use the parks. We have a walking group on Thursday mornings that my program coordinator coordinates. So they've been using it whether the weather is nice. So we'd like to, share these areas.
So ultimately, what we'd like to propose is we'd like to partner. We serve obviously the same, or certainly share some clients that you have as well as the residents here. We were hoping that we might count on you to encourage older adults and seniors to contact the Rendezvous Center if they have any concerns or recreational needs. In other communities, Care4 has been a go-to for senior inquiries, and not only for the recreational, but for the other healthcare needs that they might have. We noted on the website that you have a link for the Encore program, and we wondered whether there was an opportunity for you to also add Care4 as a resource, which might help you and help us at the same time. We were hoping we could count on you to promote the in-home exercise program, which is an important one because we all know that after surgeries, after falls, and as we age, functionally being able to move around becomes a little bit more problematic. And what we know from this program is by doing exercise in home, and you have a friendly visitor who not only does the exercise with folks, but also supports and engages the individual, we've been able to help folks leave their homes and come and join an exercise class with a group, which again helps with the socialization. Well, more importantly, folks are able to balance better, which reduces the risk of falls. Folks are able to do their dishes where they couldn't stand before, and that helps people to be able to live at home a little bit longer than that, as they wish. Last but not least, we as I've mentioned, we'd love to be your go-to. We're actually quite interested in the survey results, and specifically if there's an area, a particular pocket of the community that's hard to serve, because we could potentially be a solution for you in that way. So we're open to discussion. I'm looking at you, Anne, hoping that we'll be able to have further collaboration and discussions about this. But ultimately, that's why we're here, is to see if there's a partnership opportunity for us. As we've mentioned, Care4 is an organization that believes in enriching lives, and so we're hoping that we can align our strategies and our visions together so that we can better serve older adults and seniors. But ultimately, this is about partnerships, and we're hoping we can just further develop a partnership that we already have established. Thank you.
There's just one other program that we didn't mention, Diane. We have the Going Home program.
Oh,
That's,
gosh.
Yes.
Way go.
So our Going Home program is a program that when someone is discharged from the hospital, they are entitled to some services. So they will be entitled to some homemaking, some transportation, some Meals on Wheels, and that is done through most hospitals. We have Ottawa, Cornwall, GMH, so we partner with them as well. And so if someone's having surgery and so forth, they're entitled, I think, 10 days of some home help as well.
Yeah. Anyway, we're open to questions if you have any.
Great. Thank you very much for your presentation, and we 100% would get on board with a partnership. And I saw Ann over there going, I can make them work. So are there any questions from members of council? Oh, Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you. You people do great work in this community, so thank you for that. And yes, I remember the distributing those food hampers during COVID, and despite getting hopelessly lost, I did manage to find the one location I was looking for, and the woman that I saw there, it was amazing how important those hampers were, not just for what was in the hamper, but the person walking through the door. Like, this woman just broke into tears because she hadn't seen somebody in so long.
Yeah.
She was so isolated. So it was a wonderful thing.
Well,
that
thank
that
you,
did.
because we couldn't have done it without volunteers.
Mhm.
So.
No, for sure.
And COVID actually has made us go different directions, and we're more in tune now with the older adults. Whereas I think we're more comprehend what they're going through. In 23 years that I've been there, I've never seen seniors depressed in all my life, and it just broke my heart. And now to see them all coming out like herds, like it's amazing. Our diners on Thursday, for example, we had a turkey dinner for $9, and we had 66 people either take out or attend the centers. So I think we are valuable. I mean. People say they've never heard of us because we used to be Glengarry Outreach, we used to be VON, and now we're Care4. So it's a little bit to readjust and re-educate people in the community. But we have been here for 23 years. Thank you.
Geez, with the exception of you, Michael, we should have all went for a dinner. We're all over 55.
Absolutely.
I smell a cheap meal.
We can deliver on Thursdays. Absolutely.
Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, thanks again for your
Thank you.
presentation,
Thank
and
you.
thanks again for all the hard work you guys do in the
Thanks
community.
very
We
much.
very
Thank
much
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to, it's okay. Moving on to staff reports, Planning, Building, and Bylaw Enforcement Department, Road Widening Bylaw number 28, 2023. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopts bylaw 20-2023, being a bylaw to acquire and dedicate a portion of a property for road widening purposes, and the bylaw 28-2023 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted this 10th day of October 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. Jacob, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as you know, when severance occurs and the road is not 66 feet, one of the conditions of the severance at the county level is that the owner of the property gives us the missing, usually it's 13 feet, so there's 13 feet missing on each side of the road. So when that happens, for it to be allowed, I guess, to be put on title, council has to pass a bylaw. So this is simply a report to explain that severance application B57-22, which was approved by the counties in July 2022. One of the conditions was that road widening, so we're simply passing the bylaw to be able to clear the condition for the owner. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Jacob. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to parking bylaw number 13, 2014, amendment winter parking hours. Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure I have the right thing here. This says number 27, 2023.
Yeah, that's the one.
But it says,
The BP.
it says
2023.
13, 2014. Oh, it's the amendment.
That's the
Yeah, you're
original
good.
bylaw.
Yeah, you're good.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin. The Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives staff report number BP 2023-27, and the Council of the Township of North Glengarry passes bylaw number 27-2023, being an amendment to bylaw 13-2014, and that bylaw 27-2023 be read a first, a second, and third time and enacted this 10th day of October 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I guess sorry for the confusion. So the reason why we're passing a bylaw amendment instead of redoing our whole bylaw is just because we have all our set fines for the original parking bylaw. So if we change the bylaw number, we have to go to the province and ask for the set fines again. And as you know, we also just passed our AMPS bylaw, and the parking bylaw is part of that. So it just made things more complicated to redo the bylaw. So what we decided to do, we're just doing another bylaw, which is an amendment to the original parking bylaw. So the only thing we want to change basically is for the winter parking. So as you know, most likely you saw the signs when you enter every town or every urban or rural settlement area. So that means Alexandria and Maxville. It also means like Apple Hill, Dunvegan, Glen Robertson, Greenfield, and Dalkeith. So all the settlement areas, they all have signs that says during winter, so between the 15th of November and the 15th of April, I think, yes, you can't park on the side of the road at nighttime. So right now, our nighttime is considered from 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. So what we're proposing, we're asking for a change in those times from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. the following day. So this just gives, like the winter parking is the only section of the bylaw or the only thing we actually patrol. So it's to help snow removal within towns. So this is really just to help the bylaw enforcement officer because with 1 a.m. to 7 a.m., that means that like usually what he does is he will go around before, like at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., he will do a little round to see where the cars are. So right now, at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., he wakes up and he goes again, checks the cars that were parked illegally at that time. If they're still there, either we give him a warning if it's the first time, or we give him a fine, or we can actually tow the cars. So what that does is that instead of going out 2 times, it would just give him more flexibility in the sense that he would go out just 1 time. So we go like, I don't know, like at around 10:30, he could do the fine, like right away. He could do them all at the same time. So it just helps in that sense. We went around the other townships. It's really 50-50 when it comes to time. Some even are at 10 p.m. We feel that the 2-hour difference will not really make a difference for people because most of the cars that are there at 11 are still there at 1. So it's not, no one moves his car at midnight on a Tuesday night. So it's really a change to help the bylaw officer and the time, because when he spends all night outside, he comes in later the next day because of the time he has to work here. So that's pretty much what it is. So we're not changing any other section of the bylaw aside from that time there for parking. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You could have just said Todd wanted to go to bed earlier. It's 11 o'clock.
I'm more polite than
That's
that,
it.
I guess.
And we would have all voted okay. Any questions or comments? Deputy Mayor.
Jacob, how are we going to communicate this to the public? Because of course, they're not all going to be running to their computer to see if there are any
Yes.
changes to the parking bylaw.
No, good question. Yeah. So we're gonna change all the signs, like our signs when you enter the town have the 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. So we're gonna put little stickers on them saying that it's now 11 to 7. And we're also gonna put it on our website. Like we're gonna do something where just to notify people. We usually send it out also in like by mail with the taxes. Is that possible? No, we might do something like that also. What?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think probably, it's not a huge change, but anything that affects the public, unless they know about it, they can't abide by it, right? And so, I think it's something that people should get notification in their mailboxes, because otherwise they won't know.
How many people get a ticket?
Yeah, and I was going to say also, Todd, it's never the first time you're parked
not?
there, you get the ticket. So people
Okay.
would get a warning the first time. The cars we find or we tow are usually there like for 5-6 times before. So we would notify them before giving them a fine also.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to zoning bylaw amendment Z 14, 2023. Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopts zoning bylaw number Z 14, 2023, and that bylaw Z 14, 2023 be read first, second, and third time and enacted this 10th day of October 2023.
Thank you, Gary. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this was one of the two zoning bylaw amendments that was presented on September 25 at the public meeting. It's the typical prohibit res on one, prohibit ag on the other. This one, the owner was Madam Louis McKinnon on Aberdeen Road in Van Cleek Hill. So the retained portion is just to prohibit residential development, and the severed portion is to acknowledge the frontage, the deficiency in the frontage, the interior side yard for one of the buildings, and to prohibit agricultural use. That was the one where the entrance was actually crossing the tracks there. So we advertised the change, and no questions or concerns from public or agencies were brought forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to zoning bylaw amendment Z 15, 2023. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopts zoning bylaw Z 15, 2023, and that bylaw Z 15, 2023 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in this 10th day of October 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this one, the owner, Richard Burton, so same thing, severance, so prohibit residential on the retained portion and prohibit agricultural on the severed portion. So that was the one on Angel Road where it already has three entrances, the barn's already there. So we're not changing anything aside from those two zoning amendments. And again, here we have not heard any concerns or questions from members of the public. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. Questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Moving on to the Administrative Department, amendment to the procedural bylaw. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report number AD 2023-08. And the Council adopts bylaw 26/2023, being a bylaw to govern and regulate the proceedings of the municipal council, conduct of its members, and the calling of meetings for the Township of North Glengarry. And the bylaw 26/2023 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council this 10th day of October 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. Ann, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Sarah tonight. So this is a bit of housekeeping. When we were going through our new insurer to verify our coverage, we noted that they had different conditions for coverage of committees of council. And we have several committees of council which are listed in our procedural bylaw, but one that was missing was actually our Municipal Recreation Associations Committee. So by naming them through this procedural bylaw, we now meet all the conditions of our insurer to ensure that all the people that are working with these municipal recreation associations, as well as the buildings and the facilities, are covered. So basically, as I mentioned, just a bit of housekeeping.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to Community Services Department, CIP application for 90 Main Street South. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry approves the Community Improvement Plan at 90 Main Street South in Alexandria as submitted by the property owner Amanda Haley. Program A, Planning and Design Grant, representing a grant of 50% up to a maximum of $550.23 towards the cost of preparing architectural and/or site plans for the building facade improvements. Program B, Building Improvement Grant representing a matching grant of 50% up to a maximum of $5,000 for one facade visible from the street. Program C, Commercial Signage Grant representing a matching grant of 50% for up to a maximum of $2,000. Program E, Building Permit Grant representing a grant equal to 100% of the eligible building permit fees to a maximum of $281.75. And Program F, Municipal Loan Program of $10,000. The total grants are $7,831.98, and the total loan is $10,000.
Thank you. Ann?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this CIP, I think everybody is very familiar with the building. It's the former township building. And as you've noticed over the last few months, it's undergone quite a bit of change. But this change that we're speaking to has not been constructed. There's no construction that's been done specific to the requirements that we're bringing to you tonight. So basically, it's for improvements that are going to be brought to the facade and also construction of a grant. You may have noticed that a new door was added. The tin that was on the front is going to be replaced by a hardy board, and it's going to be black to match the new windows, as well as the construction of the new ramp going up to that door. So we are also asking under this grant for some funding for signage. And if you scroll through the pictures, you'll see the old building, or it looks very similar to what the old building was, with the old tin at the front, which is going to be replaced by the batten, and the design plans by the engineers. We're also asking for some funding to pay the proportion of the ramp and the frontage that would be covered under those designs. And the calculations were done on a pro rata based on the building permit for that, and also a portion of the building permit. So if you go to page 93, you'll see the proposed signage, and there are going to be two signs. One is a sign which is identical to the sign that their logo, which they used at their former location, and they're also going to have a Market Cafe sign above the new door. So basically, that is a summary of the funding that they're asking for.
Great,
Mr.
thank you. Questions or comments? Yep, Councillor Cadell.
What's the rate on a municipal loan?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, there is no rate under the municipal loan. There is no interest, if that's what you're asking me.
Interest-free?
It's interest-free for 5 years.
And they pay it back on their taxes.
It's registered against their property, so every year they pay back a prorated portion.
Right. Okay. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Their logo looks a little familiar. Treasury Department, September 2023 variance report, Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts report TR 2023-17, being a variance report for September 2023 for information purposes only.
Thank you, Councillor. Welcome, Kim.
Good evening, Council. Attached is the quarterly report for September 2023, which I provide to Council obviously on a quarterly basis. It basically shows any concerns or red flags to Council. If you take a look at the percentages, we should be right on track for year-end to budget. However, we can't predict things such as snow or events like that, so we really, we can't predict that. Operating budget seems to be on track. Some items are under budget, some are over budget, but it's pretty well in place. For capital, it seems quite low, but we have not received invoices for work that's already been done or work that is yet to come, such as the skateboard park. So they'll be coming in by year end. Any transfers to and from reserves, a report will be coming to Council in December at close to year end to make those changes. So what I want to bring to Council are just some highlights. If you look under penalty revenues for taxation, they are less than budgeted because we're more aggressive in tax collection than we have been in the past. However, this loss of revenue is offset by the increase in revenue on our bank account because the interest rates are substantially higher than they used to be. Most grants have still installments to be received, third, fourth installments, so the revenues are slightly lower. There was an unplanned revenue to our advantage for the sale of 63 Kenyon. MTO claims for the fire department are higher, and this was due to the late billing of Champlain. They billed us for 2022 incidents in 2023, so what they billed us was higher, and then what we invoiced the MTO for was higher than anticipated. The railroad crossing grant has not been received to date, but also the work has not been done to the railroad crossings because we were waiting for that grant. Insurance looks kind of wonky because in some places it's higher than anticipated, some places it's lower. It's because in the past there was just a set amount put aside for, say, $10,000 for admin, $5,000 for rec, and if the insurance went up 5%, 5% was simply added to that. But when you looked at the actual invoice, they weren't in the right spots. So that's been changed, the actuals have been changed, and the budget will be changed in 2024. Computer hosting fees are on the rise with more and more programs being brought on board. We have HR downloads citywide, there's Microsoft fees, CGIS, website fees, they're all escalating. Contracted services and prices of commodities are on the rise for things like building supplies, fuel, hydro, coagulants for water. They're all coming in over budget. Recreation facilities have increased overtime due to shortage of staff and full-time having to work the extra hours, but on the same token, the part-time wages are less. Overall, they're the main points I wanted to bring to council, and I've made comments on the actual detailed variance report for councils to review, and that's about it.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for your report. Questions or comments? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you for this.
No
Kim.
problem.
It's appreciated. I went through it in detail, and
Did you have trouble sleeping?
well,
Sorry.
no, I didn't. I just, first of all, I find the Public Works budget very difficult to follow.
Okay.
Because I should look at it, but the wages.
Okay,
particularly.
to that point, there's going to be 2 changes made for 2024. Right now, we have water distribution, water treatment, and sewer. Water is water, it's funded by water, and sewer is sewer. So we're making water 1 and wastewater 1 instead of 3 that it currently is. Also, because I have a real tough time with the Public Works budget for wages, but they're charged to where the actuals are occurring, but they can't be budgeted because it's weather related. Every year that budget's going to be different. So I talked to our Public Works Director, and for next year we're having one line. The budget is all under, I think, 3101, and all the actuals are going to be under 3101. So council can clearly see this is the wage, this is the actuals, because it's hard to read right now, and I get it.
Thank you for that, because, there's
All we need to see is the global number. I
Yeah.
mean, you're going through and it's the same at the counties. You're seeing all these numbers and they make no sense to you
Yeah.
because.
The only thing is, I think in the past, I don't know for sure, but maybe in the past, council wanted to see how much was spent on snow or whatever, okay? But Tim is gathering that data elsewhere, so if that question comes up or council wants to know, there is another resource available, so why are we duplicating the effort here?
Go, Tim, you want to say something? If you want to apologize, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, it was, this was actually something that was was bugging me when I started as well, because it seemed like a lot of effort for no real gain. We've changed the system now so that the foremen report to me daily in their briefings what they're going to do each day, and it's a lot more applicable than what was happening was that the guys were kind of guessing a little bit at the end of the week which line item was supposed to go under, so you get this sort of estimate that would be kind of accounted at the end of the year. So was valuable in some respects, but I find what we're doing now is a lot more valuable, especially because we have a planned versus actual, and it's at the start of the day with their fresh plans and reinforces what I want them to be doing. So I think it's a good change.
Also, our payroll department is very happy because there's only one account code to charge to instead of 15.
That's the real reason, yeah. There's always an underlying reason. It's not for council. Councillor Manley,
And then
I'll get
I'll
back
come
to you.
back. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a question about, it's under the admin budget, line 2366. Talks about, it's building maintenance. And we had budgeted 17,000 for building maintenance. And it's already at 61,500, and we still have 3 months to go. So I'm just kind of curious.
We used to have one of the recreation people, actually Parks, maintain the office. It wasn't very efficient, we'll put it that way.
Okay.
So we have contracted that service out for this building.
Okay, did we, but I thought we knew that going into this budget year. No, we didn't?
No.
No, okay, so that's, okay,
Unbudgeted.
okay, thank you.
Councillor Martin?
Just looking at the Municipal Tax Assistant Act, is that just only one payment we're going to get in the whole year?
What that is, it's payment in lieu of taxes that are on municipally owned properties that earn profit. That's what that is.
Yeah, so it's.
It's our own buildings.
They pay what they wish, so it's,
That one we pay because it's ours.
yeah, okay.
The other crown corporations, it's up to whatever they want to pay.
Thank you. Anybody over here? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking at a few line items here. It's just that when I went through it, I saw, like, as Councillor Manley just pointed out, we still have 3 more months to go, and we have a fair number of items throughout that are already over budget that I'm assuming are going to still require expenses. So it's a little bit concerning, and I completely understand, you know, we've got rising costs in services and products, and we don't have any control over. You don't have any control over that. I get that. But I was just wondering, you know, to my knowledge, hydro rates have not increased, and yet there's an indication that there's hydro, that we're over budget in hydro.
There's one facility that we're having an issue with consumption, so it wasn't the cost of delivering the hydro, but it was the usage.
It was the usage.
And that's been addressed.
Okay, all right, that's good. The fire, you were going to bring this up. Okay, do you want to do it? The fireworks, that's 2031. Let me find it.
Significantly over budget.
Way lower.
We
Do you-
budgeted 15.5, and we've already spent 28 on that.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we received the Celebrate Canada funding for that. And yes, the fireworks were higher. We weren't able to get them at the same price as we used to. The cost of fireworks have actually doubled, and that'll be adjusted this year. But we do have about $9,000 of revenue through Celebrate Canada that helps to offset those costs. But we have Fireworks for Canada Day from multiple locations. We do the fireworks also for the Santa Claus Parade at Island Park.
And so will we have that on this budget as well for December?
Yes, it's already paid for though.
Oh, it's paid for, it's
Yeah.
already out of the budget, okay.
Oh, it's already out of the budget?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we can talk about it at budget time as to whether we should be having all those fireworks. It's kind of a lot.
I didn't know the Grinch was here.
And it's not even budget time yet. The dust layer, which was line item 5205, now don't we have, like, don't we contract, like, don't we have a contract for like 3 years for that? And why has it gone up?
Through you,
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, it's a joint tender with, that all the lower tiers go into, and it was up for renewal this year, and this is the new prices. It's horrible. We really don't have any other option unless we want to, dust out our our residents. But these were the lowest bidders by a lot.
Okay, and that's, so that obviously that came in after budget time.
Yes,
right?
it was.
So we had no way of knowing.
And because it's a joint tender, there is really no better option. We pull together our resources to get the best, and once we're into that joint tender, we can't pull out. Otherwise, we leave the other municipalities holding the bag. Right? So-
Understood. No, that's a perfectly good explanation. And one last one, I fought hard to get miscellaneous out of this budget, and I see that it's creeping back in as general expense.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I have tried to get rid of that since I got here, because it used to be miscellaneous.
Yes.
What's hitting that are things that don't really have a home. I'll give you an example. Someone's family member passes and we send them flowers. We'll stick it in there, because I don't know where else to put it. But when certain people retire, that will also retire, that account will retire.
Thank you for that. And thanks again for your report.
Thank you.
It's also where when we go to Mexico, that's where we get it out of. Way to ruin that one, too. Okay, looking at the budget, though, anybody that's listening, we are still trending $200,000 under for the whole global budget. So it's bad in some spots, but we're still trending under budget. So just want to let people know that. Further questions or comments? Yeah. I got nothing. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried.
Thank you, Council.
None opposed. Thank you, Kim. Public Works Department Proclamation Circular Economy Month. Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive the staff report PW 2023-34, that Council proclaims October to be Circular Economy Month in an effort to raise awareness of the need for our society to consider the full life cycle of the products and processes that we utilize in our day-to-day lives.
Thank you, Councillor. And I will read the proclamation as soon as I finish signing it. So, Township of North Glengarry hereby declares Circular Economy Month, October 1st to the 31st, 2023. We commit to waste reduction, resource conservation, community education for sustainable living. We recognize that losing waste to disposal and as litter are local and global threats to the environment. We will take action to reduce our waste and support the circular economy. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Moving on to the consent agenda. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive the items from the consent agenda for the information purposes only.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions on items within the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to new business, child care worker and early childhood educator Appreciation Day. It is moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams. 23rd Annual Child Care Worker and Early Childhood Educator Appreciation Day, October 17th, 2023, proclamation. Whereas years of research confirms the benefits of high-quality early learning and childcare for young children's intellectual, emotional, social, and physical development and later life outcomes. And whereas childcare promotes the well-being of children and responds to the needs of families and the broader community by supporting quality of life so that citizens can fully participate in and contribute to the economic and social life of their community. And whereas trained and knowledgeable registered early childhood educators and childcare staff are the key to quality in early learning and childcare programs. Whereas registered early childhood educators and childcare workers will be vital to the success of the Canada-wide early learning and childcare system. Therefore, be it resolved that October 17th, 2023 be designated the 23rd Annual Childcare Worker and Early Childhood Educator Appreciation Day in recognition of the education, dedication, and commitment of childcare workers to children, their families, and quality of life of the community. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. And moving on, next notice of motion, next regular public meeting of council is Monday, October 23rd, 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. Question period. Ken, nothing? Nothing. Nothing at all. You guys, question? Come on, Jackie, you always got lots to say at the, anyways, I got nothing. Yeah. Okay, we will take a 5-minute break and we will be going into closed session. Thank you, everyone, for attending the meeting. Thank you to council staff and thank you to Care4 for presenting tonight. Have a great evening, everyone.